Hey everyone, this is your favorite DJ, even though I don't even do that kind of stuff. And yeah, here I am, making a video. Last weekend I was at the annual VHS gathering slash party or whatever in Sala, a small Swedish town. And you might remember that I actually went to this thing last year as well. I was really psyched to go there this year. And in fact there were a lot more videotapes this time around, not only from the two companies who go there each year. There's a company called Boa Video and also a company called Videodrome, and they are basically, you know, like secondhand. They sell secondhand videotapes and DVDs as well, and you know, all kinds of stuff. So I went there for one thing because I had asked Boa Video to do like a layaway, like, you know, to reserve some tapes for me that I could pick up if I went there. And there was actually also, I was talking to them earlier about buying a second-hand Video 2000 player, which is really uncommon in Sweden, and especially these, you know, today it's just unheard of. But you know, in the end, they did bring the player, but I decided not to buy it, basically because, you know, I don't know, I don't even have a Video 2000 tape to play. But I did have a bunch of tapes that I wanted them to you know, bring with them so I could buy them. And I thought we would just go through the tapes and I'll, you know, sort of tell you what I bought and why. But before anything else, I thought we would just do a quick recap and check the footage which I shot during my little road trip, and you can sort of see what the whole thing's all about and sort of what the place looks like and yada yada yada. Let's just roll the clip.
I was flying on a plane to California when I met this guy whose name was Sammy J. Got a gin and tonic, Sapphire Bombay. Sammy said, I prefer number 10 Tanqueray. After a few, he looks me right in the eye. Keep it on the DL, I'm with the FBI. I'm on this plane to escort this guy. He could take down the mafia if he testifies. And then I felt safe, like nothing could go wrong. Oh shit, there's a snake coming out that bitch's thong. I remember the time Nas spoke to me. He said life's a beat, and then you deep. I'm down on my drink, getting ready to die. But Sammy J stands up and says, not tonight, I got a job to do. Enough is enough. I've had it with these motherfucking snakes and stuff.
Okay, so that was that, and now I thought it's about time that I just get into showing you the tapes that I got. So right down here we have my little stack of tapes. Now this first one is actually not a videotape, nor is it a Betamax tape, nor is it any kind of format that I've ever actually owned, because this is actually a Video 2000 tape. And I know that I said, you know, just now that I don't have a tape to play in a Video 2000 player, and I didn't. But when I was there, Boa Video, sort of, you know, the guy who owns it, his name is Lars, he said like, well, you know, if you're still contemplating whether or not you're gonna buy the Video 2000 player that I brought, he sort of slipped me this and said like, here's a little something to sort of, you know, make you take a decision. So he actually gave me this for free. As you can tell, this is heavily trimmed insert for this one. It's apparently a movie called The Gold Diggers in Sweden. I'm not entirely sure what the original title of this is, but in any case I thought I'd just show you in case there's people out there who have never seen a Video 2000 cassette, which up until recently I hadn't seen one in the flesh, but yeah, this is what they look like. A very weird, obsolete format. And I can't play this tape because I didn't buy the player. I think it's an interesting format, and I hope someday to own, especially the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a movie I really want to own on Video 2000, because it's so unusual to see a copy on that format. I mean, I've never actually seen a photo of a Video 2000 cassette. that actually has the Texas Chainsaw Massacre on it. I actually own an insert for a Video 2000 copy, which looks like this. This is a German edition of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and as you can tell from the spine here, it actually is V2000, Video 2000, but this is an empty case. I've never seen an actual copy of a Video 2000. I've never seen an actual tape for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but just FYI, it does exist, and yeah, hopefully I'll get a copy of the actual tape someday. But anyway, let's just move on. Next up, we got a Swedish version of the movie Critters. It's from a label called VCM, just a label I think is generally pretty cool, so I bought that. And then I also bought Critters 2, which was released on the same label, with sort of, you know, similar. I think this is a theatrical poster, I don't know. But yeah, wanted to get that too because they sort of go very well together. VCM only released the first two. Parts 3 and 4 were released much later, so they don't actually appear on this label. That's why I just bought parts 1 and 2. Here's a really weird tape, and this is called Rage Video number 3. It looks like some kind of music, like a music video thing. I thought maybe it was some group called Rage and this was some video compilation or something. But as it turns out, this is actually some kind of magazine. If you check this label here, it says Rage Video 3 and it says Magazine for Obscure Film Culture. It's printed in Norwegian, so it's actually a Norwegian tape. And I have not watched this yet. Seems like a very odd tape, and you know, I do like odd tapes. And apparently there's like, I don't know, various short films on this. So, I don't know, odd thing. So I just grabbed it for that reason. And then this is also a tape which was thrown at me from Lars over at Boa Video. Because, you know, last year I was there, I bought a really weird, or rather an odd tape from him, which was issued by some local county in Sweden. It's a tape made for teachers in the schools and to sort of educate them on the current, like back in the 80s, about the current situation about video violence and stuff like that. And it was just like an informational video. It's like one of those things which was really cheap and nobody else would even think about picking it up, I think. But I'm like into that kind of stuff in a way. And he felt like this, which is a tape of like local crafts movies from this small town called Hyltebruk, which I've never even heard of. So this is probably some very locally produced crappy tape where some old guy talks about some old stuff that nobody cares about. And he was like, you know, you can have this for free just because it's so odd. So yeah, he gave that to me, and I haven't watched it yet, so I have no idea. Next up, a movie called The Losers, and I really don't know much about this. I think it's about some kind of motorcycle gang. This is a Swedish release, and yeah, I just sort of liked the cover. A lot of the times I just pick up stuff because it's a cool cover. If the movie ends up being cool as well, then that's sort of a bonus, I guess. Kind of a weird way to buy videos, but hey. Grabbed this, which was also one of those tapes which I just found. I hadn't had it laid away or something. And this is called Murder by Telepathy. Have no idea if this is a good movie or not. The original title is Sweet Sweet Rachel, and it's from 1971. So even if you don't recognize Murder by Telepathy, which is the Swedish title, you might recognize the title Sweet Sweet Rachel. Next up, we got, I don't even know what this is, The Gates of Hell. I guess it's a classic horror movie. I haven't actually seen this movie. Basically picked this up because it's from this really weird bootleg label, an old Swedish bootleg label. Started collecting this label for some reason because it's got such an odd story behind it. But I'm not going to go into that now. I can't recall if I talked about that or not, but anyway, not gonna go into it now. But yeah, I collect that label, so that's why I bought that. Then I found this, which was a real surprise, and this is an Australian pre-cert copy of the movie Turkey Shoot, which is a really cool Aussie exploitation or Aussie exploitation flick, which you might have heard about. It's also known as Escape 2000, I think. It's a weird dystopian sci-fi future, but you know, not like Star Wars sci-fi, more like Mad Maxian sci-fi, but not really. So I don't know. It's like about this prison or something. I totally forget what it's about now. Oh yeah, we can just read here.
So it's 1995, the sport is hunting and the people are the hunted. There's no room for individuality. Anyone who dares defy the system is thrown out into a brainwashing detention camp where torture rules and where prisoners are candidates for manhunts which end in death or freedom. The odds are stacked against them, and the turkey shoot has begun.
So yeah, cool movie if you haven't seen it. A classic exploitation flick, and I really do like these early Aussie pre-cert tape which have the transparent sides to them, even though they are extremely brittle and almost always, like in this case as well, they tend to be slightly broken. But oh god, what's it called? The KTEL video label is also very commonly uses this type of case. So I think I might have actually grabbed this just like out of reflex, because I figured, oh, KTEL tape, and just grabbed it. And then, oh, right, it's Roadshow video. But Roadshow is also cool, and this is a cool movie, so glad I found that, even though the front cover is kind of faded, but yeah, what the hell. Next up is a Japanese tape for a movie called Beyond the Door 3. Don't know anything about this, just grabbed it because it's a Japanese tape, and Japanese tapes are essentially cool and usually have some cool artwork, which and a lot of times doesn't appear on from other countries for the same movie. Another Japanese tape, a movie called Strange Behavior. Haven't seen this either, so hard to say anything about it. Next up, Japanese tape for Cold Heat. Same thing here, don't know. Might be good, might not be. Then we got a movie called Scrapbook, which I know a lot of people, you probably know about this movie. I haven't seen this yet, but I've been a little bit curious about it because recently there have been like these VHS retro editions made for it. So I've been kind of curious, and then I stumbled upon this on the Boa Video, their website, and started googling this, and you know, sort of was surprised that I couldn't find any info. I can find this cover, you know, I do find info about this, but the info I find about this is usually for the DVD edition. I couldn't actually find any info about this being released on VHS, and you know, the description said that this is a UK copy, but I don't know, looks to be UK, and it's from a label called Crypt Keeper. But apart from that, you know, I hardly know anything about this. The spine actually says CCV001, so I think this might have been like first release by Crypt Keeper. I don't know, grabbed it because it was cheap. Next up, this is a film or case which is actually empty, which is really sad, but I knew about that from the beginning, and this is a movie called Chaise Noire. It's a Swedish film, which I haven't seen, but it's a movie I want to see, and you know, I just love this cover. But yeah, it's a Swedish thriller from it's from '78 actually, by a director called Jan Hallof. I don't know, it's just a movie which hasn't been released on DVD, and so I've been wanting to find a VHS copy. Really dig this cover, and this was one of those, you know, Boa Video had an insert of this, so I just bought the insert and picked a random case from which I had at home. So hopefully I'll find a tape for it at some point. Next up, another movie by the same director who made Chaise Noire, and this is called The Stone Face. And this is a movie which my friend Mistefo and I saw at a special screening at Cinemateket. And it's just this really odd Swedish movie from the 70s, which is... It's just a really weird movie for Sweden. Personally, I have compared it to the movie Clockwork Orange, because it's like set in this world where kids sort of roam the streets, and there's a lot of like gang-related violence and stuff, and it's not as extreme or theatrical as Clockwork Orange is. So, you know, don't go in expecting Clockwork Orange, because it's not. I just think that the themes are somewhat similar. I just think it's a very unusual and odd movie for Sweden. And this is also a movie which hasn't been re-released on DVD, so I really wanted to own it because I think it's a I don't know, interesting movie from a Swedish standpoint. And last but not least on this row, I did get another copy of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I do actually own this, and the only reason I picked this up was because this actually has a label on it which actually reads Hyrkassett or rental cassette, and I've never actually seen this labeled as a rental on the label. I do have several copies of this large clamshell, but it always it's never says a rental copy, it just says retail copy. So that's why I bought this, even though I already own it. Whew, alright, so that's all the tapes, and you might think that that's it, but I do actually have one more surprise, which is this black case over here. And this was something I also was planning to buy, which Boa Video brought there. If you're from Sweden, you'll probably recognize this. If you're from, you know, if you lived through the 80s and lived through VHS era. Personally, you know, I don't have any remembering or recollections of this because I was too young. But I've known about it for quite some time. And this is a so-called movie box. And a movie box was something that video rental stores had back in the 80s, and it's basically a VCR that you could rent. So you can see here you have this case, which you can actually lift this off. I don't know why, but you do that. And inside you have this made for rental VCR player, which is really, really basic. It's made by a company called Esselti, who are probably most famed for being it's also a Swedish VHS label called Esselti, and they are sort of famed for these editions. Usually look like this. Got this typical yellow clamshell, and as you can see here, it's Esselti video. So they were pretty big back in Sweden in the 80s, and they also made these movie boxes. Simple features, no record function, because this was just a player made for you know, for rentals, just to play the tape. Interesting to know about this is that they also had like this don't steal protection system, which basically meant that there's some kind of function limiting system. Once the rental period has passed, like if you paid to rent this for 2 days or something, the box would stop working. Or more specifically, from what I have understood, the play button stopped working. So all the other functions work, but you can't actually play the tape. You can fast forward and stuff like that, but you know, playing didn't work. So then there would be no real point for you to keep it. So it sort of became obsolete once the rental period came to pass. Now, I haven't actually hooked this up yet, but from what I heard, this tape only has the play function doesn't work, so I guess that's why. Hopefully it'll be some way to hack this, or reset the time limit or whatever. I don't know. I have no idea how this even works technically, so yeah. But it's a very sort of a nostalgic item for people in Sweden, and I've always wanted to own one, seeing as it's part of Swedish history, and I'm a big fan of Swedish VHS history. But I'll also show you just back, as you can see, it's just simple wires, like 2 wires, like power outlet, and one for the antenna cable, which you hook up to the TV, like this thing. Also, this is something which was I have no idea what this is. It's just like some kind of small thing which says ES22. Feels like it might be something battery operated, like it contains batteries. I have no idea what it is or what it does. So I don't know if anybody knows anything about movie boxes and knows what this is, then you can tell me. Comes with a nice little carrying strap. But that's that. I don't have too much else to say. I don't know if you even care about these tape videos where I talk about videotapes. But as you know, nowadays I have just, for the most part, gone over to collecting videotapes rather than collecting DVDs. Because I just don't find it interesting anymore. There are exceptions, but yeah. Usually I just buy videotapes now. So, thank you very much for watching, and as usual, I hope to see you all next time.